So the next presenter is Professor Dubok from the Institute of Material Science, named after Francevich. Okay, you can see the title of our work, Development and Application of Ceramics Akin to Bone, the so-called Bioactive Ceramics. Bioactive has multiple meanings, everything pertaining to biological process. So, in this regard, a nail in your shoe is the most bioactive thing you can have. So, what is it all about? It's a classification of biological properties of materials concerning the organism. On the top we have biotoxic materials, which makes the organism die at once. Now biotolerant materials, which you can live with, but rather short-lived. Then bioinert, that can coexist with the body, but they don't help as well. They don't help either. And akin to bone, the so-called bioactive materials. They are of two types, non-resorbable and resorbable. The non-resorbable materials begin with hydroxyapatite, which is a biomineral for the bone. It can be synthesized, but it turns out that the hydroxyapatite that is synthesized is bioinert, in fact, in the body, because it is accrued with the bone, but it will never turn into bone tissue. The next type of these parts is resorbable, nanostructured, carbonated, or specially doped by hydroxyapatite or precursors. Bioglass ceramics, which are precursors of biominerals in the body. They are gradually transformed in the body. The family of these bioceramics is rather big. There's a 10-year-old picture. The leaves of this tree is of various applications. The materials for the 13 years this tree has been growing, and the number of leaves is increasing as well. So there are much more applications. In what way they are special? Bioactive materials are the only type of materials that guarantee the full restoration of bone tissue, and it shows that there are many requirements for each type of surgical operations. There's no single material that complies with all these requirements, and only by using the combination we can achieve some results. In what way we're special? Again, as soon as we realize that we need different materials, and we have learned to synthesize them. After that, we realized what is the difference between them, and we saw that basically the body is a very complex machine where each type of material is metabolized differently. And if we make composite out of these materials, we have an opportunity to metabolize different processes. So this is what we focus on, and so Centerbone it consists of combination of these materials and allows to achieve all these advantages that are described here. Of course, we from the day one we realized that we're doing this for the medical science, and in 1996 there was Kurgut as a material that we worked on. We tried to synthesize, but it so happened that cap is a dead word, because if it's a ceramic apatite, it loses its property of biotransformation, it becomes inert. How is it transformed in the body? The white things is the remainders of ceramics that have been deteriorated in the body, and the bone grows through the ceramic part. This is another view of biotransformation when there is a transition zone. Left is bone, right to the ceramics, and the wide zone of deteriorating ceramics. This is another type of biotransformation. This is electron microscopy. The phagocytes are biting up chips, chipping away in the bone. This is a dog bone, and there are 2 holes in it, 6 millimeters wide. In 3 months, as we say, that these holes do not gap for a long time. But if you fill them with ceramics, you won't even see the traces of the holes. This is another thing how biotransformation occurs. These are the tubes that restore the cochlea parts. They bind with the bone, but they are never covered by the bone. So you can have restoration of hearing. So these are the parts for restoration of the spine. This is another type of part for restoration of the spine. They look like titanium, but unlike titanium, they bind with the bone and they biodegrade with time. This is for restoration for joints. The sinews. First they drill a small hole and then they insert a pin. But they're not strong enough. But on the other hand, when they will absorb, they emit lactic acid, which inhibit the restoration mechanisms. These are stronger than polylactate. They are fully resorbable with time, and they fulfill their function. This is a gel for non-invasive treatment. It's semi-transparent, but in the X-rays it's much denser than the bone, and it's ligated by the X-ray contrast substance, terbium oxide, which is the heaviest among the lanthanoids. These are the grains of two-phase nanocomposite, 3-calcium apatite 3-calcium phosphide, which is nano and comes in nano sizes. The bioglass porous grains. These are also. This slide shows the increase of X-ray contrast. To the left, you see just a pig bone, and there are 3 samples of hydroxyapatite inserted. But to the right, you can see how differently they look when X-rayed. Hydroxyapatite, with all its advantages, is similar to the bone, and it has the similar contrast as the bone. And on X-ray, you will never tell one from the other. And in order to see how biotransformation occurs, you have to take a small test sample from the bone, which is quite a painful operation. What you see to the right is 0%, 1 and 3% of ytterbium, which increase by tenfold the X-ray contrast. So it can be done without a bone sample taken right on the X-ray. So this is the luminescence characteristics. done by biosensors. This is typical how it's done when we have when a person have a forehead damage. In this patient, he had a serious damage of forehead. Now he has a ceramic forehead, and it feels absolutely well. Now this is a coating of titanium-based material. So the coating is used in a different powder dispensers. This is a X-ray graph which shows how the phase content is retained throughout the time. This is the mechanical properties of detonation coatings. This is how material looks without the coating. It's some kind of arc. The plate which is inserted in the bone. In 6 months, you can easily remove it by a pincer. What they say on the TV that titanium can be bioactive, let them say whatever they want, but you can see how it looks like. But if this plate is covered with apatite, in 3 months or 2 months, it's covered by the bone tissue, and in 6 months, it's completely immersed in the bone. So there's no rejection by the body. So this is a coating of the bolts and pins, and the coating remains on the steel. And this is a rhinoplasty. The titanium ions. When titanium plates are applied, the worst case is epilepsy because of titanium ions, but with the coating is differently. And the strength of this coating is 10 times better than the usual. This is an immune reaction to these materials. It's always retained after a short time of the post-operation shock. T lymphocytes, everything. Another interesting results. Usually the bone is slower to restore. Soft tissue have only a trace after the wound, but the bone tissue is much harder to restore. So we found the reason for that, and this slide doesn't have these. This picture doesn't have these 2 slides. So we achieved the result, and after 6, 8, or 10 months, we managed to produce the real layered bone tissue, but also to restore the bone marrow. This result has never been achieved before. So the further development of these materials allowed to guarantee her full biotransformation after a year. Transformation to the real bone, not only the primary period of raw fiber bone, but to fully restore even the bone marrow, which is, of course, very necessary for the body.